Hey everyone, what's up? This is just a little impromptu live stream. I know I went live a little bit earlier than I expected to, but whatever. People can join when they come in, and I'm going to talk about kind of like echoing. I'm going to talk about kind of a crazy experience that I had at work today. And, if you guys have any questions, we can do like a little ask me anything, whatever. Sadly, unlike my last Friday impromptu live stream, I am not drinking on this one. So we'll see how much information you guys get out of me this time. But yeah, I just had this weird experience today. And it's the first time that something like this has happened to me since basically like my Trump rally article went viral, because I got called a racist a lot around when my Trump rally article went viral, but it hasn't happened recently. Hi, Curist. Yeah, so I waited until Unsafe Space was done, because I was enjoying Unsafe Space myself. If you guys don't watch Unsafe Space, you absolutely should watch Unsafe Space. It's awesome. Yeah, Kaiser Sose says, wait a minute, you're not a white supremacist? I don't think I am. I don't know, man. Apparently people think I am. So I just thought I would come on and talk about it. I had ideas for other videos I wanted to do today, and then it's been like a weird day, man. I'll certainly have videos I'm going to do over the weekend from the ones I was supposed to do today. So here's what happened. So I think it's important to understand that, there are different, I have like different personas, right? I think everyone does. People act differently in different situations. So when I'm doing fun videos on here with you guys, I'm definitely like a little bit of an amped up version of myself. When I'm on Twitter, I'm like an extra amped up version of myself. But then there's adult Carlin. Adult Carlin is the Carlin that actually participates in productive conversations, or tries to participate in productive conversations. Adult Carlin is I like always with my work. Like, so when I'm working with organizations, when I'm doing trainings, when I'm doing coaching, when I do that kind of thing, it's serious. I don't mess around. I don't usually bring politics into the discussion like at all. And this was true when I was still a Democrat, and this is true now. So every once in a while I use Trump as an example for stuff. And by the way, that was true when I hated Trump. Just because Trump is like, for some things that I teach, Trump is like the absolute best example, because everyone knows who he is and everyone sees him doing the things that I teach. And I use him as an example every once in a while when I hated him. And I use him sometimes now. I think I might even be more sensitive to using him now. I really try not to. I try not to talk about politics when I'm doing my work. So one of the things I'm doing right now is I do a group coaching program for managers trying to help kind of have a little bit of a support group when during this time of like great transition with, a lot of managers had to take their teams to be in virtual work environments at the drop of a hat. That was a big transition. Now, some of them are starting to transition back into the work environment. And basically we get together once a week to talk about, what's going on, what challenges they're having, how I can help. I offer any insight into like the psychology of it, or how to help people feel safe, how to help keep them focused on their work, things like that, like basic kind of like workplace stuff that I do in the day to day. And so we just had a regular Friday meeting, and like nothing really eventful was happening on this call. It was kind of like your typical call where people were talking about struggles, and there were definitely some pretty immense struggles. And I'm not gonna, guys, just so like I do not reveal the names of my clients. I do not reveal identifiable information about my clients ever. Ever. In fact, anyone, because there have been some rumors, like people on Twitter have spread rumors that like my business is suffering and things like that, which is like, it's true and it's not true. It's like, it's true that a lot of things have been put on hold because of what's going on in the world, but it's not true that my business is struggling. But people put this information out on Twitter, trying to act like they know what's going on in my business. No one knows what's going on in my business except for me, and to a lesser extent my husband, but my husband doesn't even know all the shit that, like, I keep a lot of it, like it's private. Like I deal with a lot of private information, I deal with a lot of confidential information, and so I don't reveal client names or identifiable information as like an absolute rule. But I will talk about generalities. And so I had this coaching call today where we were coaching, and there were some people on the call that had struggled this week. They had gone through a great deal of transition with their team. I'll just say that it was definitely a tough week. And so one of the topics we were talking about is, there's one person on the call that was transitioning her team back into the office, and we were talking about strategies to do that. How can you transition a team that has gotten used to working from home and all that stuff back into the office and do it well, and what is the balance of that, and do you let some people continue to work from home, and how do you help them feel more comfortable? Now, my thing with the work environment is that I want to empower everyone. I want everyone to feel good. I want everyone to feel as though they can bring their full selves to work. I want everyone to get the same strategies. I don't think it should be dependent on the color of your skin. I don't think it should be dependent on your gender. I don't think it should be dependent on your country of origin. I don't think it should be dependent on, your orientation. I don't think it should be dependent on everything. I want to give everyone the same information because I want everyone to be successful. So we were talking about this, and then in the middle of it, someone else pipes up on the call. I don't know why my camera's crooked. That's going to bother me. Huh. I don't know what's going on there. Good enough. So someone piped up on the call just out of nowhere saying, Carlin, I thought that this was going to be much more about diversity and inclusion and you're like, what you're talking about is white supremacy. And I was like, what? Like, honestly, like, I had no idea how to react to this because I had not had someone call me a racist or a white supremacist in my work environment at all. I keep that very, very separate from other things. And I was just like, we're talking about people returning to the work environment and feeling safe going back to work. Like, and I honestly didn't know how to react to it at first. I was like, you're like, this is a person, and I have theories about why this happened. We're going to talk about that in a sec. This person, though, here's what you should know. If you ever do consulting, do not give shit away for free. Because here is what happens. This person, someone asked me on Twitter, like, is your business hurting because of this? I'm like, no. You want to know why this didn't hurt my business at all? Because this person was literally in my group coaching program out of the goodness of my heart because they didn't pay one dime for it. I put them in it for free because they work at a nonprofit and I'm sensitive. Sometimes I try to open up my programs at discount rates or low rates for nonprofits. So I'm sensitive to that stuff. I know not everyone can afford someone like me. This person was put in my program for free because they work at a nonprofit. This person has been following my work for years. This is not the first interaction I've had with this person. This is not even the first conversation I've had with this person, and have never had any trouble up until today where she gets on a group coaching call in front of my clients, people that are paying to be there, people that have bought into this program, and accuses me of white supremacy because I'm talking about creating safe work environments where people feel safe going back to the office, that their health and safety are going to be taken care of. Nothing out of the ordinary was discussed on this call. It was like, show them that there's nothing to be afraid of from going back to work, because so many people have been living in this absolute state of fear for the last 2 months. They're constantly bombarded with negative information about like this virus and how dangerous it is. If you go outside, you're going to get the virus. You get the virus, you're going to die. If you go to the store, you're going to get the virus. Like all this stuff. And it's built up in so many people's heads that they are now literally scared to go back to the office. I'm dealing with this right now with like multiple clients. And so we were talking at a very high level about how to make this just to open the door. I did not say anything about forcing people to go back to work. I didn't say anything. And in fact, I encourage people to remain flexible and like only get people back into the office if they feel comfortable, but just opening the door and showing them that it's safe. And this person's like, no, white supremacy. How the hell is that white supremacy? Honestly, like, can someone please explain to me how any of that was white supremacy? Honestly, I know I have, I don't even know what phrase to use anymore. I guess people of color. I know I have people of color in the chat right now. Like, please explain to me how whatever I said was white supremacy, and I will take it back if it was. Let's see. We got a super chat. Thank you, Miles, for the super chat. Was walking and literally stopped when I heard what you just said. Yeah, dude, like I'm like trying to do my job and be professional and help people and empower people, and all of a sudden I get called a white supremacist out of nowhere. What the hell is wrong with people? Why is it so easy for them to throw this term around? And listen, I know what it is. Here's what it is. The person that did it works at a university, higher education. Thank you, higher education. I know this is what it is. Because here, listen, I'm going to rewind. I'm going to rewind back before all this crazy nonsense. So some of you know this, some of you don't. I spent the first 10 years of my career working in higher education. First 10 years of my career. I started off, my first job out of college was as a college admissions counselor. I was literally the person deciding who got into college and who didn't. From there, I worked in a development office at an Ivy League school. I did that for a while. I've done marketing for colleges. Very, very. I mean, you would know the colleges if I mean, you can go and look to my LinkedIn. It's not like a freaking secret, but yeah, like I've worked in marketing. I worked in development. I worked in admissions. I worked for vendors that worked for colleges. I spent the first 10 years of my career working in higher education. And so up until about a year ago, I would say the vast majority of friends that I had just like in my social life worked in higher education. I had friends like all over the country. They worked at all these different colleges. Now, what happened a couple of years ago though, and this is when I was still friends with them, but like I started noticing my friends were turning into goddamn pod people. They were turning into pod people, and it was like universal among the people that were working in higher education, where one day they would be like normal, the next day, pod person, everything white supremacist, everything racist, everything you're tokenizing, Carlin. You're like, I don't even know like what the goddamn buzzwords were. And I was like, I did not understand what was happening at first. I really did not understand what was happening at all. Domingo, I just want to thank you for the super chat, my friend. I really appreciate it. But like, it was because these people were working at colleges where it is a breeding ground for this nonsense, where like you see racism when it isn't there, and you see misogyny when it isn't there, and you see homophobia when it isn't there. It's like all the different phobias where all of a sudden all of these things concerned. And I was like, oh my God, man. It was just it's I don't know if any of you have been through this where like literally your entire social circle loses their minds all at once, and all of a sudden you're like, what happened? Like, we were all normal a second ago. We were all normal. We were all having normal conversations. And then all of a sudden, and everyone's crazy and a goddamn pod person. Like, has anyone ever been through that before? Because, like, it's a trip, man. And I'll tell you what, too. Like, you start to think that it's you who is the problem. You start to think that you are the one that is the problem in the scenario. And I honestly, like, I thought I was going crazy. I thought I was going crazy when all this stuff first started. Okay, let's get some super chats in. Someone, I love the dog ones. Thank you for people who have dog avatars. Please remember that there will always be miserable people looking for an opportunity to offend. Well, that's the thing, man. It's like, this person was normal. I've talked to this person before. I've coached this person before. This person used to be normal, and now they've jumped off and become pod person and are no longer normal. And I'll tell you guys how I handled it in a second, but let me just get through some of these super chats. They redefined white supremacy. Society is considered fundamentally racist and benefits white men, and anything that supports the system, even passively, is considered white supremacy. Like, I don't know. I got in trouble for this too, like during Trump's State of the Union, when I was tweeting out during the State of the Union that I thought it was good that there was a low unemployment, especially among the African American community. I was tweeting out that it was good. Apparently that was not the correct answer either. Apparently we all should wish for high unemployment. Off topic, but did you hear a Democratic rep is suing Michigan Governor Whitmer? I did not hear that she was getting sued. I was actually planning... Side note, I was planning to do another video today about Trump visiting Michigan, and I have some thoughts about that, and maybe I'll even talk about them in this impromptu live stream. So we'll maybe get to that. Let's see. Thank you, Rebecca, for the super chat. I appreciate that. Oh, you guys are so great. Thank you so much for the super chats. I really, really do appreciate it. My 17-year-old niece said she was called racist just because she's white. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, man. That's the thing. Hey, can I come work for you? I have an intern position. Or you can come work for me. I have an intern position open. strike that reverse. I don't need an intern position, man. Like I'm good. I have more than enough work. I've been working a lot lately. Like crazy hours. So I'm good. I appreciate it though. Um, so this person in this group call, at the beginning of the group call, calls me a white supremacist, right? Or basically like insinuates I'm talking about white supremacy. Maybe it wasn't like directly you're a white supremacist, but like, Carlin, this is white supremacy. I was like, okay. And so how did I handle it? So you got to remember, like, I'm keeping the professional hat on as this is going on because I still have, listen, there are other clients on this call. There are other people that I'm trying to serve in the process of this. And so I tried to be as, just diplomatic as I could be because I know people just to have a little bit of I try to have a little bit of empathy for these people like that are because I know that this is not you get sucked into this stuff. And it's like being in a goddamn cult. And I understand that it's not always that person's fault. I mean, it is like we should take responsibility for ourselves, but I also understand why it happens. And so I tried to approach her just like with empathy to say, okay, well, it's okay to have a different opinion than me, but let me make sure I'm being very clear about what I mean. And I talked about how, you know, for me, one of the reasons I like doing what I do in terms of being an organizational psychologist is that I truly believe that work is a good thing. Work gives us a purpose. Work gives us a way to focus our energy. Work is something that can be incredibly personally fulfilling. It can be incredibly motivational. It can make you feel good. Like when you have a good day's work, that's good for the soul, man. And so I believe that work, having a job, being able to create things, being able to build things, like that is a fundamentally good thing. And so I basically just like reiterated, you know, here's my perspective on this. I think it's a good thing if people want to go back to work. I think it's a positive thing. It's a beneficial thing. It's not only beneficial for the organization, which is, you know, important in these times, but it's also beneficial for us as human beings to be productive, to be busy, to be around other people. Guys, listen, I have worked at home for years. I have worked in companies that are entirely virtual. I have trained companies that are entirely virtual. I don't believe that it's good to be by yourself for as long as people are. Because it's not even just like with working from home. I used to be able to go to the gym and have social time. I used to be able to go out to the bar and have social time, even just to be around other people. We can't do that anymore. We're locked away in our homes. And I don't believe it's healthy for well-being at all. And in fact, hey, let me show this. Let me actually show this. For people who haven't seen this, let me just share my screen real quick. I think that's the one. So look at this. California doctors say they've seen more deaths from suicide than coronavirus since the lockdown. This is from the Washington Examiner. This came out today. We're starting to see, and I have heard this over and over and over again, folks. I have heard this from mental health professionals over and over and over again, that the mental health consequences of this situation are starting to become really severe. And it's not all getting reported. I've had so many messages from people or DMs on Twitter saying, Carlin, here's what I'm seeing with my clients. And it is terrifying to me. It's terrifying. Now, we can't fix all the problems, and there are a lot of different contributing factors into why people would hurt themselves that I think are terrifying at the outset. But what I do, at least, is I think that focusing on work, and especially for small business owners, guys, we have lost 100,000 small businesses. 100,000 small businesses closed permanently, gone. I mean, and I completely empathize with this. Honestly, I completely empathize with this because, you know, June for me, and again, I want to emphasize, like, my business is fine. I'm very lucky in that I have a very low overhead. And so, and I can always I'm also very lucky in the work I do. Like, it can be incredibly lucrative. So if I just get like one gig, it's incredibly lucrative. And so I'm very lucky in that respect. And I can always kind of pick up work when I need to. It's a little bit tougher right now, but I can still do it. So I'm lucky, but I'll tell you what, man, I absolutely empathize with small business owners who are looking around and are like, my world is crumbling around me right now. Because June for me, June is always a huge month for me for business. It is an absolutely huge month in terms of training and retreats and talks and presentations. It is an absolutely monster month for my business. What I was supposed to make in June of this year was going to fund my business for the entire rest of the year. That's how big June is for me. And it's gone. It's gone. All of it is gone. Now, again, I am very lucky in that a lot of the work was not canceled outright. Some of it was postponed. Some of it we're still trying to kind of figure out what it is. The stuff that got postponed is already, most of it's gotten postponed until like next year. So I'm not even going to be able to get that payoff until next year. But like, like, my business again is still stable, but holy crap, man, that was a hit. When it just kept coming, like cancellation, postponement, 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 cancellation. Almost like, what the holy hell? That business took months to line up. It took months. I book out months in advance. And to all of a sudden have it be gone, it was like, what the hell? And I thank God every day that I have this stuff going on YouTube now, that I have like my merch store, that I have people that are donating out of their pockets to support the content I'm doing. I thank God every day because it really has helped to supplement the income that I'm losing. I'm so grateful for all of you that have supported or watched the videos or shared or, even just given a thumbs up or a comment or that sort of stuff. Like, I'm so incredibly grateful because so many people in my position who are running small businesses don't have that. And so please support your small businesses as much as you can. I cannot emphasize to watch something that you have spent years of your life building. I spent 7 goddamn years getting a PhD while working full time. I was doing my PhD part time, chipping away at it bit by bit. 7 goddamn years. I started building my business in 2012. And I got to tell you, like, there have been moments in this where I'm like, I don't know if it's going to survive. I think it will. I'm starting to pick up work. Businesses are starting to get back on track. They're starting to invest in this type of training and coaching. So I think I'm going to be okay. And also I have a really low overhead because I don't have employees. That was always an intentional choice, by the way. And I'm so excited. Oh, hey guys, hang on. My camera got unplugged. So, hi, you're seeing me on a different camera, probably a shitty microphone. I'm going to try to fix it. I don't know. So my computer's been doing this thing lately. Where it like unplugs from one of my USB ports randomly. Oh, I think it's back. Hang on. I'm back. Proper camera. And then proper audio. Okay. Is that better? Okay. I'm back. Sorry. I don't know. My computer just blew up. So hopefully it doesn't do that again. No, I think that work is important. And so how I tried to handle being called a goddamn white supremacist in the middle of a conversation was I just tried to approach it with love, because that's really all I can do is say, it's okay for us to have different opinions. It's okay for us to disagree on this, but let's have a conversation. I tried to provoke a conversation, and it was just, I was getting just absolutely nowhere with it. I got absolutely no. She was just like, no. Like, did not want to have a conversation. It was like, we obviously disagree and this is not a good fit. And I was like, lady, come on, man. Like, what type of example are you setting for your employees if you can't have a disagreement with them? Higher education, man, I'll tell you what. Like, I'm just going to say it, and I don't really care. Actually, let me show the super chat first. I lost another super chat. Thank you to whoever sent the super chat in with the cat comment. My union called me racist for expressing concern about the mass order from China. Caring about your health now equates to racist. Oh yeah, dude. Like, we're not even allowed to talk about China. Please, we're not even allowed to talk about China. So what was I saying? So I just tried to approach it with love and basically be like, it's okay to disagree. She didn't want to do that. Oh, what I was going to say is, I really hope that this entire situation screws colleges that are traditional colleges that are peddling this nonsense. I hope so many of them suffer as a result of this. I know I shouldn't say that. But really, like, I am so angry at colleges and universities because I have to deal with this type of shit in organizations all the time. Like, don't even get me started about microaggressions in organizations. Microaggressions like a whole other goddamn topic. Like for things that I've like again spent 7 years of my life chipping away at a PhD part time to teach people about goddamn microaggressions. Please, please. So I really hope that this whole thing does an absolute number on colleges and they get their shit together. Okay, audio is wonky. Is the audio still wonky? I hope the audio is not wonky. It should be on the correct microphone. It should have been wonky for a second when I was picking up on a different microphone. But if it's still wonky, let me know. Muffled audio. Hang on. Stand by. Oh, I know why. Is this better? Is this better for audio? Yeah, you know what I did? I set the speaker as my microphone, not the audio. Okay, so the audio is back. Good, 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 good. So yeah, I really hope a lot of traditional colleges that have been peddling this bullshit just suffer quite a bit because this needs to stop. This is ridiculous to blame every single thing that you don't like or you disagree with on white supremacy or racism or any of the phobes. Like it does nothing good. And here's the thing, guys. I am not in favor. And this goes back, let's rewind 3 years ago to when I was writing my book before I even was aware of any of this bullshit. See, now I'm swearing. You know I'm fired up now. People have been telling me not to swear as much lately, but I can't help it. I can't help it, okay? So when I was like writing my book, before I knew any of this, part of the premise of my book is that you are not a victim. No one is a victim. No, not a single person is a victim of their work experience. I absolutely refuse to buy into this notion that people are victims because of their race, because of their skin color, because of their gender, because of their ethnicity, because of their orientation. I absolutely goddamn refuse to buy into this nonsense. I refuse. And that's exactly what she's saying. She's saying, Carlin, we can't force people to go back to work, especially not the poor people of color, because they are victims of this situation. They're being affected disproportionately. Yeah, you know who's being affected disproportionately? Poor people. It's not even an issue of race. It's an issue of goddamn class, man. Poor people are being affected disproportionately, and you know, people who make less money, there is a higher percentage of people who are not white in that pool. But there are also people who are white in that pool. That doesn't mean that it's a racist. I mean, come on, man. I just can't with these people. BB, thank you for the super chat. I really, really appreciate it. It means the world. DH says, swear all you want. I really should try to rein it in because I know some people listen to me like with the speakers up when they have kids around, and I don't want to influence kids to pick up my bad language like I did like when I was a kid, whatever. But no, I refuse to train people in any way that sets them up to be a victim. And it's, in fact, like I tell people all the time when like when I was still doing in-person trainings, I would have people ask me like all the time, well, Carlin, like I'm a woman. How can I get the men at work to take me seriously? Because they're going to discriminate against me because I'm a woman. And the very first thing I would say to them is like, stop worrying about being a woman. Stop it. Stop worrying about being a woman. That like this is the minute that you put that thought in your head that you are a victim, that you will never be successful no matter what you do because of systemic whatever blah 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 that's going to hold you down no matter what you do, you are just putting so many obstacles in your own way. It makes absolutely no goddamn sense. It makes no sense. Why are you creating obstacles for yourself? Why? How could you possibly help yourself to be successful if you see yourself as a victim in the world? You know, I was raised. Was anyone else in the chat? Did anyone else in the chat? I don't know how old you guys are, but every day after school, from the time I was a little kid up through high school, maybe not high school, but like definitely like middle school, maybe the beginning of high school, I would be babysat with like my half dozen cousins by my grandmother, because I came from like an Irish Catholic family. I had all these cousins running around. There were friends of the cousins and all this stuff. And so all of us went over to my cousin's house after school. We were babysat by my grandma. We babysat by my grandmother all during summer as well. And so during summer, I loved spending time with my grandmother, because you know what she did? We watched Sally Jesse and Ricky Lake and crazy like bad talk shows like that. Did anyone else do that when they were a kid? Like watch those really bad talk shows? By the way, there's now on Hulu, you can watch old episodes of Sally Jesse, and it's like my favorite thing. Those things are the best. It's awesome. And so on these shows, what they used to teach is don't treat people differently because of their skin color. That was a very prominent theme, along with like, you know, teenagers who are rebellious and driving their parents crazy and things like that was also a theme on Sally Jesse. But like Sally and all the other ones like Donahue, like whatever, even Jerry Springer, well, you know, back when this is like before Jerry Springer like went off the deep end. Like there was a time, just a very short time, as I remember, that Jerry Springer actually was like a little bit sane, just a tiny bit. Like it wasn't all crazy all the time. So I would watch these shows growing up, and the theme is like, don't treat people differently because of their skin color, man. I internalized that. I don't treat people differently because of their skin color. I don't treat people differently because they're a woman. I don't treat people differently because of who they love. Like when I was 16, 17 years old, one of the first issues I really cared about was civil unions in Vermont, because I grew up in Vermont. And so, like, I don't. Why would I treat someone differently because of any of these immutable characteristics? It just makes no sense. But now the world has flipped. We live in the upside down, and we're supposed to treat people differently because of their goddamn immutable characteristics. Why? 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 And why are you dragging this bullshit into my professional environment? I'm sorry. Like you, like this person who got put in my program for free, because I was trying to help them out because they work for a nonprofit and don't have the budgets of for-profit organizations. Please go screw, man. Like this is why you don't give free shit away when you're consulting. There's always the freebies. Always the freebies that are the biggest pains. Always. If you're thinking of starting a business, like mark my words, I'm not saying never do it, because I'm still like, and I'll probably still do it because I'm still like a nice person and I want people to be successful and I want to help people. But do not give free stuff away as a consultant. And if you do, you go in with your eyes wide open and you acknowledge that those freebies that you gave away are probably going to be the biggest pain in the ass that you have to deal with. Full stop. Ugh. All right, let's do some super chats. Do a Whitmer watch. I'm gonna do a Whitmer watch. Not really a Whitmer watch, but like the Michigan Attorney General. I have an idea for her. Okay, so let's talk about this. Actually, we'll talk about that after I do these other super chats. I want to keep up. Buckeye Brown says, tell us how you really feel. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I'm glad you kept an open mind and attended a Trump rally. Thank you very much, sir. I feel like I had another super chat in here somewhere. I don't know how to get it on the screen. Oh, there it is. Okay, al dente. Can we call the far left extremists and social aristocracy the PC, politically correct master race? Obviously, they feel they are superior species to us mere mortals. I mean, that's kind of like a mouthful, dude. Maybe we can. I don't know. It's not the worst idea in the world. So let's talk about what I wanted to talk about with Michigan. So you guys know, do you guys see this picture of Trump wearing a mask the other day? Because Trump made this big deal, of course, like, oh, I'm not going to wear a mask. And then Michigan's Attorney General comes out and was like, Trump, you're not allowed in the state of Michigan if you don't wear a mask. And of course, she can't do that. She can't bar the president of the United States from coming into her state, please. Like, she can try. So Trump is doing this factory tour in Michigan, right? And he's not wearing a mask on the outside. But then, here, I'll even see if I can find it. I know I tweeted it. Hang on, stand by. This is what happens with impromptu live streams. I'm not prepared with stuff to put on the screen. Da, 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 da. There it is. Found it. Okay. There he is. Trump wore a mask after all. And got this little photo, which Trump planned this. He planned to get the press to snap a photo of him. Now, I tweeted out the other day, I was like, please, Trump, please wear a mask, because the minute that you wear a mask is the minute the media tells us not to wear masks. And I was like so excited when I saw this. I was like, holy crap, Trump wore a mask. Trump wore a mask. Let's get ready for it. But I haven't seen any stories from the media yet. But here's my point with this. Here's my point about the mask. Weren't we supposed to wear masks to protect other people from us? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole point of a mask is not that it's going to protect you. That is not the point. Because, again, people have said over and over and over again, no, Matt Jack, that's not Photoshop. That's real, man. Trump was carrying around the mask at the thing. That's a real picture. But the whole point of wearing a mask was supposed to be that we were protecting other people from getting the virus if we should cough or things like that, right? Am I wrong about that? Because it even says on the side of the damn box of those masks, like, will not protect you from getting coronavirus. So if the whole point is to protect people, and we know that Trump is probably one of the most tested people in the whole world, right? Trump gets tested like every single goddamn day for this virus, I bet you. I mean, they test him very, very frequently. So we know Trump doesn't have the virus because he gets tested all the time. So then why does he have to wear a mask? Like, if the whole point of mask is to protect someone else from getting the virus if you have it and you don't know it because you're asymptomatic, but Trump gets tested all the time because he's the leader of the goddamn free world, then why does Trump need to wear a mask? And this, to me, this right here is proof that this whole thing about masks, with the attorney general in Michigan saying, Trump, you can't come to this state if you don't wear a mask, this to me is proof positive that this is just a power play. This is just about control. That's all this is. It's about power and control and saying you have to follow our rules even if our rules don't make any sense. That's all it is. And it's like they basically just come right out and say it because everyone knows that Trump doesn't have it because he's tested all the goddamn time. So why is it necessary to put your foot down and say you can't come to our state if you don't wear a mask? It's just a power play. It's just a political maneuver. That's all it is. Because we all know, listen, hang on, I need to take a drink. I need to take a sip. We all know the real reason that Gretchen Whitmer and her little attorney general don't want Trump to come to Michigan, right? We all know the reason. It's because they don't want him to win Michigan in the election. That is it. That is it. It's not because they think he has the virus that they're putting their foot down on the goddamn mask. It's just because they don't want him to win. That's it. It's a political power play, bar none. Oh, that was what I meant to do. That was the one. Al Dente, thank you for the other super chat. Al Dente says, to comply with mask rules, but not smother, I'm making a leather plague mask. I saw some knitters make knitted ones. Guys, have you seen? Okay, I have to show off my Teespring store. Guys, I've got some cool stuff in my Teespring store. And anytime I launch merchandise, it's honestly because I think it's really cool and I want one for myself. But look what I just put in my store. This is a mask. This is a neck gaiter. And it's in Handmaid's Tale red, which I'm very excited about. And it's literally the exact same red that's in the Handmaid's Tale. I figured out what red it was. And it says, this is to silence you on it because I'm of the opinion that masks dehumanize people and that's bad enough. But I'm also of the opinion that wearing a mask, wearing something over your face like this, all day, every day, for hours a day, it's a great way to get people to stop expressing themselves. It's a great way to create a more docile society. I don't think that that's the actual motive behind it. I think it's a very unintended consequence. But so if you're in the market for a mask, I've got one up in my shop. I also have, I was so excited. I'm getting one of these shirts myself. I've also got the My Body, My Choice t-shirt, which I think is pretty great. It comes in all these different colors. I love the orange one myself. I've got tank tops. I've got all sorts of stuff. So if you're in the market for rebellious merchandise, you guys know where to find it. It's in the description below. Christo says Trump was only inspecting the mask being made at the plant. Yeah, I mean, Trump was walking around, and no one thinks Trump has the virus anyway, man. No one thinks he has the virus anyway. Um, so that's the thing there. It's like, you know, it's just all this goddamn political power play. Did I accidentally or you oh yes, there's the cat one. I'm sorry. I was looking for it in the super chat. It was when my computer went crazy and my camera went off. So thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. All right. I don't know. I have some other stuff I can talk about. Do you guys have any questions? Anything you want me to rant on? I'll rant on almost anything. Please feel free to chat in. Let's see. What else did I have to talk about? Oh, here's the other thing. I can't talk about that movie starting with the P. I'm not going to get my channel banned, dude. No. Can't. I don't even think, okay, truly, honestly, guys, I don't even buy into that movie, to be honest. I know it's going to piss off a lot of you. I didn't find it very credible. It's not something that I believe. You know, I don't think that it should be censored. I think that's stupid, but Dragon Water wants me to rant on ranting. Ranting is awesome, dude. Why would I rant on ranting? I think ranting is great. Well, Matt, you can PayPal me, man. PayPal me. It's in the description below, dude. But I do appreciate it. All right, here's the other thing I wanted to say about the work thing, though. Like, why don't people want it to be safe to go back to work? Why don't people want it to be safe? Because it really feels like so many people are like, we want it to be dangerous to go back to work. Why don't you want it to be safe? It just makes no sense. It being safe to go back to work is a good thing. It's a positive, it's a positive thing. It is a benefit of society. Yeah, Ara says, I don't know how to pronounce that, says, I escaped from Syria where I was born so I could live in America free of authoritarianism. Listen, man, my husband's from Ukraine. He's an immigrant. He came here when he was like, 20 years old or something like that. He says to me all the time about the social justice wars. He's like, Carlin, these people have no idea what oppression means. They have absolutely no idea. I know because I grew up in Ukraine. Like they have no idea what this stuff means. Yeah. V Star says we're having trouble here calling people back to work now because they're trying to get workers to come back, but they are making more money with handouts. That's incredibly true. People like unemployment is so lucrative right now. Like you get $600 a month from the government on top of like your regular unemployment benefit. It's absolutely nuts. Like why would anyone want to go back to work? It just makes no sense. So I think that's pretty dumb. You want to know the other thing I think is dumb? Let me get it up on my screen so I can follow my own. I tweeted about this earlier. So I'll tell you what. Hang on. Looking for the tweet. Not that one. Oh, by the way, guys, my episode on the Rubin Report is coming out this weekend. I think they've already put clips up, but the full episode of me with Dave Rubin is going to be out this weekend. So make sure you look out for that. I've seen a clip that they posted of me talking about like the knitting wars. So that's going to be coming up. I'm really excited about that. So make sure you tune in. I really enjoyed it. Casey says, I spent my formative years in the military. The only color there is green and your supremacy is earned. Yeah, man, like my first job out of college was at a military school. So I've never been in the military, but I've been around the military enough. And, it just makes no sense to me. All this makes no sense. All right. So here's the thing that I was thinking about. So a lot of you are going to like this. So I got to tell you, like, I am pro-choice. I am pro-choice consistently. When I say my body, my choice in regards to the mask, I mean that in terms of abortion too. I am pro-choice. I have been all my life. I don't celebrate abortion. I don't. But I think that I am in favor of people being able to make that decision in the first couple months of their pregnancy. And that's just the way it is. And I know that it's not perfect and there are flaws with it and I get it. But I got to tell you, this whole thing is actually making me more pro-life. This whole thing is pushing me just to say, you know what? You guys have abused this privilege that has been given to you. Like, it has been abused. And the reason that I say that, I go through it in this string of tweets. I'm just going to read my tweets to make sure that I'm getting my thoughts straight. I said, I swear the pro choice people who don't believe in choice when it comes to mandating that you wear a piece of cloth over your face or shutting down your business, but believe in absolute choice when it comes to aborting a child until the very end, are going to push me to be pro life. They'll say, you don't have the right to get me sick. I'm sorry, but what planet have you been living on? Have you ever lived through a cold or flu season in your life? Have you gone to a conference and come home with conference crud? People get each other sick all the time. When it comes to abortion, something that literally takes a life, that results in killing a human being 100% of the time, they are totally cool with it no matter what point in the pregnancy it happens. Not only are they cool with it, but they celebrate it. In fact, I've had conversations with pro-choice people that are like, well, Carlin, having an abortion isn't as bad as giving someone the virus. I'm sorry, WTF? By what insane, convoluted logic? How does someone even come to that conclusion? The virus is not going to kill the majority of people who get it, but abortion kills 100% of the time, and they're cool with it because it isn't contagious. So much for the I'm wearing a mask to protect you argument. They don't care about you. They only care about themselves. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. Like, I have never been in favor of using like abortion as birth control. I'm like these people that get abortion after abortion after abortion, like that's awful. That's awful. And then they celebrate it at these rallies. Like, are you kidding me? Abortion is something that should be safe, legal, and rare. And it should be a sad thing. It should be a hard decision. It should not be something that you make and film and post on goddamn TikTok and all these things. Like, are you kidding me? Come on. Like, have some more respect for yourself. I just don't understand it at all. So I'm not quite like fully pro-life yet, so you know. Like I think I am. I think I am in terms of like I wouldn't get an abortion, but I do think, you know, here's the thing. I think that like wealthy women are always going to have access to this, and it's always going to be safe for them, always. And it doesn't matter if it's made illegal or not. But and if that's true, then I feel like there has to be a safe alternative for people who can't afford it. Like, listen, you know, I was talking with someone about this the other day. So my grandmother's badass, you guys. My grandmother was an absolute badass of a woman. She raised 7 kids in a house that is about the size of the townhouse that I share with my husband and our 2 dogs. 7 goddamn kids. I can't even imagine having that many kids in a house of that size. And she did it, and you know, she was a Catholic, because again, like Irish Catholic family. And after the 7th kid, she decided to go on birth control and got excommunicated from her Catholic church over it. And you know, so I'm not like I get it, man. Like I understand, you know, why someone who feels like they just can't afford to have another kid, and maybe it happened by accident, it wasn't planned, or maybe there was another thing. I don't know. I totally get it on that level, but what I don't understand is people who they're not being serious about it. And like I think that's I mean, talk about being privileged, right? Talk about being privileged. Talk about being privileged to make the decision to abort every single time you get pregnant because you can't be bothered to use a condom or go on goddamn birth control. When I went on birth control, I was given 3 options. I went to Planned Parenthood when I was in college. They gave me 3 options. I chose 1. 3 options was more than enough. They had a sliding scale so I could afford it. Like, it's not hard to get on birth control. It's not. And I'm grateful that Planned Parenthood gave me that option, to be honest. I don't know what I would have done without it at the time back then. The last says, keep trying to bridge. The sides cause, even though people are arrogant authoritarians, they're still Americans and we got to live together. I mean, I feel the same way, man. I feel the same way. And I feel like that's why when this woman called me a white supremacist in the middle of my goddamn coaching class today, I was like, I really did try to bridge the gap and to be like, you know, I can understand why you'd see it that way. Let's look at different perspectives. Let's discuss it. But if people don't want to see someone else's point of view, you can't make them. And I'm very much a fan. I'm like one of the least judgmental people that Matt, oh my God, Matt, you are a darling. I really appreciate it, my friend. Keep trying, keep the good fight. we'll figure it out. But also, like, don't feel like you have to. I appreciate it, but don't feel like you have to. So what was I just saying? I don't know. I feel like I was about to say something. So I really try to keep a non-judgmental attitude. I really feel like a lot of this stuff, it just like is not my business. It's not my place to judge. It's your life. Live your life however you want to. And in my belief system, because a lot of like I'm a highly spiritualized person. In my belief system, I believe that we choose what we want to experience in this life. We choose before we ever get here. When we're in spirit form, when we are back in our true form with God in the universe, wherever that might be, I believe that we make the choice. We say, yes, I want to go back and have a human experience on earth, and this is what I want to experience, and this is what I want to learn. I believe we coordinate with other spirits that are in our spiritual existence. And that's why some people just click in real life. If you just click with someone in real life, I believe you've got karma with that person. There's a reason that they're in your life. And I believe that we choose what we're going to learn here. And what that means is that fundamentally, none of you watching me right now are on the same journey that I am. None of you are on the same journey as I am. And I'm not on the same journey that you're on, right? And so why would it be my place to judge your journey? Why would it be my place to judge your choices? I mean, I also believe that we all come from the same thing. We're all part of God. We're just like little pieces that God has splintered off so that God can understand what it's like to have a human experience. And so because of that, we're all God. I'm you, you're me. We're all the same thing. If you want to come here and have an experience where you're being oppressed or where you're being an oppressor, like, that's not my business. It's not my place to judge to judge in that circumstance. If you decide to come here to be president of the United States, if you decide to come here to be, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but you decide to come here to be a homeless person, you decide to come here to live in poverty, you decide to come here to be a middle-class person that's trying to work your way up, all those are different experiences that you might choose. Any experience on this world, I believe, is an experience that was chosen. And when we come here, we forget it because, like, what's the fun? What's the fun? We intentionally forget why we came here. And so because of that, like, even if you're living your life in a way that I do not personally agree with, it is not my place to judge you. And so everything just is. It's not good. It's not bad. There is a rhyme and a reason. And so, like, these people that are just actively, like, trying to change people all the time and putting their nonsense and their bullshit onto me, like, mind your own damn business, man. You work on your life. I will work on my life. We're cool. So I really try to exercise non-judgment as best I can. Yeah, exactly right. The Act of Nothing says this. That's a more fun game to be surprised. Exactly. Oh, dude. If you guys haven't seen, what is the name of that documentary on Amazon? It's Harvest something. It's about organ harvesting in China. It's terrifying. Like, it's terrifying, that documentary. That documentary is crazy. Liberty Vegan says, hang on. What do you think of the non-aggression principle? This is a moral principle that, in short, states it is morally wrong to instigate force against others. I mean, I don't necessarily think that morality is, like, absolute. So guys, I'm doing a book club. This is relevant to the question. This is relevant to the question. I have it here on my table. Hang on. So guys, I'm doing a book club. Actually, let me do this. I'm going to bring this up because there's something I want to show you. Okay, guys, if you have not joined my Locals community, I have a community on Locals. Yay. It's pretty new. I just launched it, I think, like, last week. I don't even know. Like, the days all bleed together. So it's kb.locals.com. It should be in the description below. The community is completely free to join. However, there is, like, a monthly subscription to participate in the discussion and the activities. But if you use the promo code WELCOME, WELCOME, if you use the promo code WELCOME, you're going to get a free month. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I'm doing a book club for this book right here. Bing! It's called Conversations with God. It's the first book. This book changed my perspective of the world. And so we're going to do a book club together, and the book club is going to be on June 14th, so you still have a lot of time to get your copy and read, and you can join us for a chat. We're going to be doing that in my locals community. Now, the reason that, oh my gosh, big super chat. Thank you, Bummer. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that, my friend. So the reason, actually, Bummer, like send me an email. Go to my website, drcarlin.com. I'll give you a free year's worth of subscription to my locals community so you can come and play. But go to drcarlin.com. Let me know. I'll whatever. Other people can use that trick too, I guess. But so the reason I bring up Conversations with God in reference to the question about the non-aggression principle is that, so there's a line in that book that essentially is God saying, when you understand that I did not send Hitler to hell, you will understand God. I'm going to say that again. It's honestly like one of the most profound lines in the book. When you understand that I did not send Hitler to hell, you will understand God. Because there is no good and bad. There is no good and bad. And that's part of what God is saying, is that there is no good and bad in this world. There simply is. There simply are the experiences that we choose to have. Or maybe the line is, maybe I'm misstating. It might be, when you understand that Hitler went to heaven. Because Hitler went, like, everyone goes to heaven, right? And so if I believe that, see, a lot of this stuff gets complicated when I have to overlap it with my beliefs. If I believe that we all came here to make the choice to do certain things, that none of those things are good and bad, it's just experience. Is the non-aggression principle inherently good or inherently bad? Well, no. Is there a standard moral code that applies to everyone? Well, no, because we're all here for different purposes. We're all here to experience different things. And anything that you experience in this life, whether you judge it as good or you judge it as bad right now in your human experience, maybe those bad experiences that you have are supposed to lead to something better, or the negative experience. I mean, let's even take the Holocaust, for example. Let's talk about that. Why would God send Hitler here? Why would anyone make that choice, right? Perhaps it's to give humanity such an extreme experience that it ensures that it never happens again. Maybe that's the reason. And I mean, there are things that have come close to that, and there are things, the way that there are some things happening in the world right now that I'm really not happy with, and I think people are forgetting that history. Maybe it's a matter of, like, history has to repeat itself every once in a while for us to remember, but I don't know. There's a movie on Netflix. Have any of you seen this movie? I think it's called The Devil's Pass, where these people are like, they're in Russia, and they're like trying to figure out what happened to this hiking party in Russia that just disappeared off the face of the earth. Has anyone seen this movie? I'm pretty sure it's called The Devil's Pass. I've got 500 people in the chat. Someone must have seen this movie. Well, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix still. It's about this group that goes into the I should watch it later. This group that goes into, like, the mountains in Russia looking for this hiking party that just disappeared. And I won't spoil the movie, but, like, crazy stuff happened. Like, crazy, like, supernatural stuff happened in the movie. It's a good movie. But that movie is actually based on a real case. That movie is based on a real thing that happened. And there are people, and you can watch this on YouTube, there are fascinating people who do this on YouTube, that channel spirit and tell us, yes, this guy's got it, Ted. I don't know how to pronounce this. Yes, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. So that's Hang on. I'm coming back. Unplugged itself again. My computer. Yeah, so that was, sorry, I don't mean to have that one on the screen. This is the one. Yeah. So that's the one right there. And so that's actually based on a real incident. And if you search Google for people who have channeled people from that incident, what they tell us, it's fascinating. It's like, what is it? Conversations with Eric, something like that. I think they did something on this. But what they told us, what the people who are channeling spirit tell us, is like the purpose of this specific incident happening in real life is someone in that incident experienced as much terror as we are capable of experiencing as human beings. And that was the purpose of that experience here, was to experience such an extreme amount of terror that God, source, the one true energy, understood terror to the extent that it needed to from that incident. And so it's fascinating. Go find these people who do channeling spirit, because it's really, it gives you a whole different view of what we're doing here. Have you seen the documentary on Amazon called The Creepy Line? It's about the manipulation by Google on search results. I have not seen that, but that sounds really good. I should write that down. Have you ever heard about the Armenian genocide? I've heard about it. I don't know that much about it, to be honest. I apologize for that. I can't be an expert in everything, but I've heard about it. All right, guys, that was really all I wanted to talk about. I've kind of gone for an hour at this point. Does anyone have any other questions? Oh, okay. Oh, Aya's asking. I'm sorry, I don't want to pronounce your name. Aya. So are you saying that God planned what the Turks would do to my great-grandparents, do the Armenian genocide? No, I'm not saying that. It's actually much trickier than that. I'm saying that your great-grandparents, when they were in spirit form, chose to be a part of that. And that's a difficult thing to wrap your head around, isn't it? And again, this goes back to my core beliefs. And I don't mean this as an insult. I don't mean this to hurt anyone's feelings. I'm saying there was a spiritual reason why your great-grandparents in spirit form said, this is something I want to experience. This is something I want to take part in. And you have to understand too, that like, it's easier to do that in spirit form because like we as human beings, we're so afraid of death, right? We're so afraid of death. But spirit isn't afraid of death. Spirit knows that we never die. We just transform into something else. And when you die, like I'm actually really excited to die. Don't get it twisted. I'm not like looking to exit my human life anytime in the foreseeable future. But I actually really am excited for the day that I finally like pass on and go to spirit, because I want to know what it's like. And my understanding, and I could be wrong. Hey man, maybe I'm completely wrong with all of this. But my understanding is you instantly have access to so much more information and so much more context. And when you understand that, you understand why there might be reasons why someone might come here and say, I want to be a victim of this genocide. That's an experience the collective needs to understand. So if you come read Conversations with God with me, I think this will help you. I really do. If you're having trouble kind of tracking with what I'm saying and where I'm going with this, come join book club, come join my locals, come do Conversations with God, and it'll give you a different perspective, if nothing else. Tracy says, enjoy my content. Thank you, Tracy. I always recognize your avatar because your avatar is very unique. So I see you commenting on stuff. Active Nothing says, I wouldn't say that there is a you in spirit. Well, there's a spiritual you. It's not the same as your human you, but we all have a spirit. Is murder wrong? Well, I mean, I wouldn't choose to murder anyone. That wouldn't be a choice that I would make. I think that there are spiritual implications to making that choice. We all have free will. Some people might be here specifically for the purpose of murdering a person. I don't know. But I wouldn't make that choice. And again, like guys, this is not an argument I would make in court, by the way. This is a spiritual discussion. This is I'm thinking out loud here, okay? I'm not saying like use Carlin's particular brand of spirituality to go murder someone. That is not, do not do that. Do not do that. Come on, this is just thinking out loud. This is interesting. I'm just looking through the chat, see if there are any other questions. Yeah, Helena says, we make a spiritual contract before we come back in order to learn lessons we need to elevate. That's exactly right. I believe the same thing. Well, I mean, so this person says, I don't buy it. I need proof either way. I'm not an atheist. I'm not an atheist. I'm just I guess, not convinced. So the proof for me comes in meditation. I have experienced amazing things in meditation. Also comes from the ayahuasca ceremonies that I've done. Like for me, listen, man, I have felt this stuff. I feel this stuff. Like some of you guys, I made a video about chakras the other day, like saying like this is part of the reason why I don't want to wear masks. And I was talking about chakras, and some of you guys were like, "Curling chakras are stupid. You just lost all your credibility." Dude, like I can feel my chakras, okay? I can feel them. Like for me, this is a physical thing that I can feel. I understand that you can't, and there was a time that I couldn't. So I totally get that too. I'm not judging as better or worse, but it is a physical thing for me. Not shockers, chakras, not shockers. Come on, be appropriate. Yeah, it is. Dude, the first thing I'm doing when this is all over is I'm getting my butt to an ayahuasca ceremony. I'll tell you what, it's been a couple of years since I've done a ceremony. I'm like dying, dying. All right, guys. I don't really have anything else to talk about today. Thank you for coming, hanging out with me. It's very hot in my office, so I'm gonna go downstairs where I have air conditioning. You notice I don't have the light turned on because it's so hot with the damn light. But I appreciate you coming out. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you to all the super chats. And I have a couple videos I'm gonna put up tomorrow that I have yet to make, but I'll make them tomorrow. And thank you guys so much. You guys are the best. I don't have friends. I have you guys. All my friends left me when I decided to vote for Trump. But I love you guys. You guys keep me sane. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And we'll chat again soon. Bye.